Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? Do you think that that is a tool that can help people navigate that space of feeling like massively unhappy and disconnected?
There's probably a bunch of different components, but it's definitely a tool. I know it's for me, like, listen, I'm a survivor just like you, Michael, of trauma, right? I have days where I have I'm tired, I'm hungry, I don't feel well, and something could trigger something that has affected something from a trauma thing because that neuro pathway is still there, right? But real-time resilience skills is a tool, and it could definitely help. If you have as many tools as you possibly can in your tool chest to help keep you sane and not spiral down the rabbit hole, like I like to use the term staying north of neutral, right? When you look at a pie chart and you look at a wheel of life and each piece of pie is a part of your life, such as relationships, career, whatever it is, spirituality, and for some reason at your job, something bad happens and you go from a 7 down to a 3, what do? You gotta dig into your tools, and one of those tools is real-time resilience skills to question the thoughts that you're having, because you may be thinking, "Oh, my boss is an asshole." Right? He
It
just
might
did.
be.
Yeah, right, it may be, but he just did this to me, but then instead you gotta think, "Well, maybe this person's having a bad day, like, why did this happen? X, Y, and Z." Like, get fact-based data, evidence for, evidence against. It's like you're taking your brain to court, right? And you have to use, like, real-time resilience skills to say, "What's really happening here?" You
Yeah,
know?
I love that, Dan. So I say this to myself all the time. I do not trust my brain. Like when when you
Yeah,
understand neuroscience, when you
yeah,
understand the impact of trauma and being in a cortisol state and what it's like to grow up in that, and then to like navigate dissociation and then recognize behavioral patterns, and then you get into these things that are triggers and emotional scars. It's like your brain is not trustworthy, right? And this was my experience, until I understood the research and the science and the
yes.
practical functions of the brain. Because
Wow.
I realized something really important, and I'm going to lead somewhere, and I want to know your thoughts on this. For a long time, I felt like every time I listen to my brain, I get in trouble, right? But every
Yeah.
time I listen to my gut, I'm right. And I was thinking, I was coaching one of my clients recently. I said, how many times have you had this moment where you meet someone or you do something or you're in an interaction, you're like, that doesn't feel right. And then a month, 6 weeks, 5 days later, it doesn't matter. You go, damn it, I should have trusted my gut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I on the right path there?
Oh, yeah, you have an intuitive thinking system, which is your gut feeling, and, when you're making, like, some serious there's a difference between making a short-term decision when you're going to the store and you gotta purchase something off the shelf, compare with, like, a decision that's really a hardcore decision that you have to make that may impact your life. It's always the good if you could sit on it and really kinda think about the decision and not rush into the decision, right? Sometimes those things come quickly. It's your gut feeling. Like, for instance, just as an example, you probably had this experience. You look at the weather report, they say it's going to rain. You look in the mirror, you're talking to yourself, brushing your teeth, say, I should take my umbrella today, right? And that's your gut telling you. And then your other voice comes into your head, which is metacognition, because you're talking to yourself, says, nah, you don't need the umbrella. That's your ego. What happens? You go outside, you don't bring the umbrella, and you get rained on. You're like, I should have brought the umbrella. Right? So it's so true. It's like, depends on what kind of decision you're making, but I always try to listen to that first voice. Whenever I question
Mm.
myself from when I say, nah, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What's that nah? That's when I got to say, practice the pause, Dan. Practice the pause. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so great. I want to go back a little bit.
Mhm.
When you're in this pivot to start stepping into the path that you're on now, I'd love for you to kind of paint a little bit more of a picture that has led you down this pathway, because obviously you do a lot of really beautiful things around psychology and mindset, but particularly I want to talk about positive psychology. And so
Yeah.
I'm curious, like what led you down this path and how has it impacted your life?
Yeah. So, listen, the journey of learning didn't stop when, I explained the story when I was 22 till I was 26. I did wind up getting a divorce and I have two kids and I had to learn from that experience. And then I got in another 10-year relationship, which really help me become a man because this person taught me how to not be a people pleaser. Again, I'll remind your audience that I didn't have that father figure, right? Like there is no playbook that's given to a man, when he is born, right? We're taught how to open up doors, how to do certain things, but we're not taught how to express our feelings. So I still had to learn how to become my true authentic self, how to be more vulnerable, not be a people pleaser, like how to interact with people, especially with someone from the opposite sex. And in that 10-year relationship, I learned how to be vulnerable and accept a strong woman into my life, how and ask and be able to ask for help. I learned how to express my needs and wants. I learned a bunch of things in that relationship, and one of the things that I could take away from, that relationship is I got into yoga and meditation, which was like almost the last piece that I needed to learn. And I'm going into, what the question that you asked me, because, when I was, and that relationship had ended, like I believe that people come in and out of your life for reasons. I believe things happen for a reason. And, when I was 48 years old, uh, I was at a job for 11 years and I got laid off from that job. And I thought to myself, wow, I'm looking back at my life and and all the things that we discussed and the story that I share. And I said, there's meaning to this. There's something that I should be doing, right? What is my true purpose? Now, I've been very successful in IT, but I'm like, there's something, I have a gift. What is my gift? And that's when I came up with the word Yomenga. Yomenga came into my mind. I was sitting on the couch meditating, and the word Yomenga, which is the word men in between the word yoga. And that's where this journey started, basically, how I got into positive psychology, integrative medicine, and all these things because I started to create this business, Yomenga. Besides what I have holistic WellCare advisors, and then I have holistic wellcare.coach. So I have three things that I'm working on. And I decided, I said, I need to create a course because all these things that I learned that have helped me, if I would have known them between the ages of 21 and 29, I think that, and I'm talking about positive psychology principles such as growth mindset, real-time resilience skills, self-regulation, mind traps, how to become your own CBT therapist, how to understand that you're a neuroplasticity, how your brain works, your limbic system, prefrontal cortex, all these wonderful things that positive psychology teaches you. I said, I need to like create something that I could help people between the ages of 20 and 29, which are those people are called Bisonarians. If you didn't know that, I said, because if I create this course, um, these people are going to have a better head start than I did because, I think when you turn 30, I think that's when those are your most important decision making years. I think that's when you're deciding, do I want to get married? Do I want to have children? Where do I want to live? What career do I really want to get into? And I think if I would have had some of these skills back then, I probably would have made much different decisions. So that was really the main reason. And also, well, that was, the Get Real Deal and Heal course that I created that was part of Yomenga. But since that time, since 2018, when COVID hit, I had to pivot and Yomenga's kind of gone in a different direction. And now, this holistic WellCare advisors is what I do also as well. Has kind of gone in a different direction, but they all kind of tie back to each other. The thing that, with the Yomenga thing, I just felt that, you know, back in 2018, when things were coming out, like Matt Lauer and a bunch of other people were getting in trouble for a lot of the things that they were doing, I said, I didn't like the word toxic masculinity. I don't mind the word masculinity, but I'm kind of offended by the word toxic because I don't consider myself a toxic person. What I consider myself is an uneducated man. So when I refer to, anything that has to do with teaching men how to become more spiritual, emotional, physically better for themselves, I like to call it uneducated masculinity. So that's kind of how that started as well.